Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully complete that report management, monthly and the yearly profit, right? So now in this video I want to discuss about that mark sheet, that means how can generate some of the mark sheet for the student. So in this video I will show you that things with a live example. So for doing this, first of all I want to add another menu as a mark sheet. So here in our sidebar, that is our report management. It is the report management. Before I have created one of the menu as a monthly and yearly profit. So now I want to create another one. So that is in our sidebar. So go to our project directory. So right now here we don't need this. I close everything. So that is our sidebar, right? So to the sidebar in our report management, I want to now create another new menu. I copy that li and here I paste it and I just name it as a Marksheet generator, okay, or Marksheet generate, whatever you actually choose. So I name it as a Marksheet generate. And also we have to create one of the route for this one. So that will be one of the, I name it as a Marksheet. Okay, I name it as a Marksheet generate view. So that will be actually this type of one of the route I want to create as a Marksheet and then the generate, okay, Marksheet generate view. And also I want to update our active link. So I copy it and that will be our Marksheet generate view. So now we have to create this route. So if you want to create this route, go to our web route. So into the web route, that is previously I have created as a report management all route. So now after this, okay, after this our report prefix, here I want to create another new one and I name it as a Marksheet generate routes. So that will be one of the view. So better I copy it and here I simply paste it. Okay, so right now I want to create all that our Marksheet generate route in particular that area. So I have already put one of the name. I put that name, that will be as a Marksheet generate view. I copy it and now here I change that name. Our route will be as a Marksheet generate view, and also I want to update that our URL. Our URL will be as a Marksheet and then generate and then view. And also I want to create another controller. So that will be better. I want to create another controller as a Marksheet controller. Okay, Marksheet controller. So this type of one of the controller I want to create in our account. That means if you go to that our controller, into the backend, I have created that report, right? So into the report area, that means in our report folder, previously I have created another controller as a profit controller. So now into this folder I want to now create another controller as a Marksheet controller. So if you want to create this controller, we have to go to our project directory and then I open as a CMD and now I name it as a PHP artisan make controller and I name it, and that means into the backend, and here I name of the another folder as a report, and into the report folder I want to create one of the controller as a Marksheet controller. Okay, so make that spelling is correct. That is our report. That means into the backend folder and then the report folder. Into the report folder I want to create another controller as a Marksheet controller. So now if you click as a enter, now you can see our controller created successfully. So that is our new controller I have created as a Marksheet controller, right? So first of all I want to support our this controller. So now if you go to our web route, so into the web route I want to support it first. I think at that point you already know. So that is our report folder. Previously I have created as a profit controller. So now into the report folder I have created new one as a Marksheet controller. So now I name it as a Marksheet controller. Okay, so that's all, and now we are able to use this controller. So that is our Marksheet controller. Now we can actually able to use it. So now first of all I want to create one of the view page. That means here we have to create one of the method. I name that method better as a Marksheet view. So this type of one of the method now we have to create it in our Marksheet controller area. So now let's do that work. So now I copy it and now go to our Marksheet controller. So into the Marksheet controller, here I want to create one of the new method that will be as a public and then function, and then our method name. So that will be our method, right? So here I have created one of the method, and first of all I want to support some of the models. So for the generate this Marksheet, we will need some of the model. That means right now I want to better copy it and I paste it. So here for our Marksheet controller, we need some of the table. That means if you go to that our model, so here we need student marks. That means for the student marks, I have created one of the database table as student marks. So now I open it. So right now there is a student marks will be needed. I support these student marks, and also here multiple table will be needed. Student marks will be needed. Exam, that means the exam type will be needed. So I also want to support that exam type. Okay, I also want to support that exam type, and the class will be needed and the year will be needed. So for the class, I have created another table and I just name it as a student class. That will be needed, and also student year, right? So now first of all I want to support every our database table. There is a student class, then student year. I copy it, so that will be as a student year. Okay, so I name it as a student class. Student year will be needed, and also the grade, that means the marks grade. That is, I have also created another table as a marks grade, and also I want to support this table. I copy it, so that will be another one as a marks. Okay, marks grade. Perfect. So friend, for our marks, that means the Marksheet generated, that all the table will be needed. Okay, so that is a profit, that means the profit controller. So right now we don't need this. I close it. So if you go to our database, into the database, so that is actually interconnected with all that table. So here it will be needed that our mark, that means the mark grade. So into the mark grade, and that is our school subject and student class, and then the student mark. Okay, if you open that student mark, so that will be also be needed. So to the student mark, here I have already assigned all that field, like that is our ID number, the year ID, the class ID, assign, that means the assigned subject ID, and the type, that means the exam type ID, right? And also they have all that our student marks. And also I have created another one as a marks grade. So if you go to that another one as a marks grade, I have already created this type of all the things. That is a marks grade as a grade name, the grade point, the marks, start marks, and marks, and the start point. So now that all data will be needed actually. So here we need that our start, that means the mark grades table, all the data, student marks, all the data. Here I want to update it. Here I only want to actually get that appropriate one row data. Okay, so that is our marks grade. Perfect. So now first of all I want to actually get all that our data. So if you want to get this data, then here I want to add it in our view. So into the return view page, here we have to load one of the page, right? So now first of all I want to get all the data from our year. So I name it as a data. So that will be just like that previous one. I name it as a years. I take one of the variable as the years, and then our year means that is student year. So from our student years I want to get all the data. Okay, so you can use that all, rather than you can also use it as a order by. I make it as a order by, and order by with the ID and the descending order. All the data I want to take, that will be as a descending order. Okay, and then after that I want to get this data. Perfect. And after that also I want to get all the data from our student class. That means the data, and then I take it with the classes. Okay, I take all the data with the classes. Here we actually load all that our data. So first of all I want to get all the data. So I want to get this from our student class. That is a student class table, and from here I want to get all the data. Okay, and also I want to get all the data from our exam. That means the exam type. So here if you want to get it, I name with the data array, and then I take one of the variable as the exam underscore type. Okay, exam type, and with this exam type our model name as the exam type model, and with this model I want to get all the data. Okay, and then the return, and then view, return view with our backend. Into the backend, I have created one of the view page maybe. So if you go into the backend, I have created the report folder. In the report before, I have created as a profit. So now I want to create another folder as a Marksheet. Okay, so now into the backend, into the report folder, I want to create one of the folder name as a Marksheet folder, and into the Marksheet folder I want to create one of the view page as a Marksheet underscore view. Okay, so this type of one of the page I want to create, and after that I take it as a data. That means I already get all that are variable data, take the things with our this data array, and now simply I pass it in our Marksheet view page. Okay, so perfect. So that's all. And now I want to create this page. That means in our report folder I want to create one of the page as a Marksheet. So that is our report folder. Into the report folder I want to create another new folder as a Marksheet, and into the Marksheet area I want to create another new file as a Marksheet view. So now we open it. Now click as a save as and name it as a Marksheet view.blade.php. Okay, so that will be our view page. I hope, friend, it's very much clear to you. So this page will be just like our, if you go to our employee management, there is our mark management, into the mark entry, that will be actually just like that same. Here I only load all that our year, all that our classes, and you can see that is our exam type, right? And also I want to pass another one. I want to pass another one as a ID. That means that with this ID number I want to get a specific some of the student data. So if you want to do that work, so better I want to take that part. That is our mark entry add. So I want to take this space. So that means if you go to our mark, into the mark, that is our mark add blade, right? So mark add blade, that is our student entry, there is year, the class, the subject. So it's pretty much same. So now I want to take this data from our marks and the marks add dot blade. So now I select everything from here, and now I have created one of the page as a Marksheet view. So now simply I paste it on here. Okay, so right now here we don't need any script. I simply remove it and I will customize it as per our demand. So right now also we don't need any script. Okay, I make it as a clean, and then that is our exam type. So that is a student type. So now I want to customize it. Okay, I want to customize it. So first of all, that will be as a student. So now I want to make it as a manage. Okay, manage Marksheet generate. So right now we don't need this as a Marksheet and generate. Okay, so that will be as a Marksheet generate. So this type of one of the title, so that will be our title. Okay, and after that the route will be needed, and then the years I have already passed this name. I have already passed that our years variable, classes variable, and the exam type variable, right? So that will be as years. You can see I have already used the same name as years as year. Then all that our year will be loaded, and then same as for our class, all that our classes, you can see I have created the same variables. So for the reasons here we don't need to change anything. So that is our, it will be get all the data from our student class. So friend, I think at that point you already know that condition. I get all the data, take the things with this variable, and here I pass it in our view page, right? So now I just simply added that for each loop, and into the for each loop it's getting this data. Perfect. And then that is another one as a subject. So right now here we don't need to use that subject. I want to use that as a one of the ID number. Okay, so right now better I cart it, and that is our call MD3, and after that will be the exam type, and after that call MD3 I want to paste it. I paste it on here. Okay, so that will be as the exam type. So exam type, I pass that data as exam type, so that will be as exam type as exam. Okay, exam type as exam, and then exam ID, and the name will be visible, and that name I just name it as exam type underscore ID. Perfect. Okay, So now I want to change that part. So that will be one of the input field. So if you go to that mark, into the mark, that is our mark, that is the grade mark add. I want to take one of the input field. You can see that is one of the input field, right? So now I copy this MD, that means our form group. I want to copy it. So right now here in our mark view, into the mark view, that is one of the form group. I want to change that form group, and here I name it as a ID number. Okay, that will be as a ID number, and I just name it. I name it appropriate database table field name. Here I want to use it as a ID underscore number, right? So here I want to use it as a ID underscore number. Perfect. And then there is the rest of this. Here we don't need actually anything, so I want to actually remove it. So that is our table, the table here, that is actually our total table. I want to remove this total table. I want to remove this input field or input type. That input type I want to update. I copy it. I want to copy, and then there is our search, right? So now I want to change that search. Here I paste it. Okay, I paste it as an input type, as a submit type. There is a class as a btn primary, and value I make it as a not the submit, I make it as a search. Okay, I make it as a search. Perfect. So right now here we don't need this. I remove it. So that is our call MD. So here also we don't need this. I want to remove it. Okay, so there is a call MD4. I remove it. And then also here we don't need this. There is a row D none, before I have used it. So now that will be perfect. Okay, so that will be enough. I remove everything. Okay, so that is our form, and then our call MD, one of the three, and there is our AND row, and there is our another call MD3. So now it should be perfect. Okay, it should be now loaded. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now go there, go to our project, click as a refresh, and now go to our report management. Into the report management, here you can see there is a new menu is added as a Marksheet generate. So now if you click as a Marksheet generate, yeah, it's perfect. You can see it's now redirected to our Marksheet view page, and here I name it as a manage Marksheet generate. I load all that our year, I load all that our classes, and also type, that means the exam type is now loaded. So everything is great. Because of all, I already get all that our data, right? I get all that our year data, class data, exam data. I pass it in our view page, and into the view page here I load it. So you can see here is loaded, the class is loaded, and then our exam type is now loaded, and that is our ID number field. So that is one of the ID number field. Okay, and after that if you click as a search, then it will be actually put on of the another action. Okay, so here that will be just like that same. Better I want to go to our view. Into the view area, there have also one of the form, right? So now I want to update. I want to add one of the route for this one. So from here I want to get all that our data. So they have one of the form. You can see that is actually form. So this form method will be as a get method. So I name it as a get method. Okay, and then action, for the action I want to put one of the route. Our route I name it, I want to change that name. That will be as a report Marksheet get Marksheet, and then dot get. So this type of one of the route I want to create, and also I want to make as a target. Okay, target will be as a blank, that means it will be open with the new tab. So I name it as a target blank. Okay, so that is our form, and that is our CSRF token. Everything is great. So now I want to create this route. Now go to our web route. Into the web route, now I copy it. That will be our new one. I simply paste it. Our route name I have declared as a report Marksheet get, and also it will be open with the new tab as a, I make it as a target blank, and then that will be our route name as a report Marksheet get. So now I name it as a Marksheet generate get. So this type of one of the URL I want to define, and then in our Marksheet controller I want to create one of the method as a Marksheet get. Okay, so that will be one of the methods. So now I want to create this method in our Marksheet controller. Now go to our Marksheet controller. Here after this I want to add that name, that will be as a public and then function, and then our method name will be as a Marksheet get. Okay friend, so now we have to work in our particular this Marksheet get area, that means into this method. So with this method I get all the data, then I want to load it. That means if you now select any year, class, if you select as the exam, if you select as the ID number, and after that click as a search, then it will be actually get some of the specific student ID data, and then it will be open with a new tab. So how can do that work, how can create this method as a Marksheet get method? In our next video I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.